Hello and welcome to my Tarot Corner. So, as promised, today I'm going to do a reading about Meghan's memoir. As now it is said that Meghan is going to write her own memoir about being in the royal family. Now, this should be the thinnest book ever, maybe even thinner than the bench, since what does she have to speak about? She has been a royal for less than 2 years. She has done, I think, less than 80 engagements. What does she have, or how much information does she have to fill a whole book? I mean, I cannot really understand Harry that is going to write a memoir of a whole life as being part of the royal family, but Meghan, what does she have to tell us about being part of the royal family, unless she's going to uncover all sorts of things that are controversial from her past, things that connect with her past as a yacht girl. As someone wrote me on Twitter, or it was GETTR, maybe she will include photographs of her moon bump. That would sell the book. So I'm going to look into how is she going to create the plot in that book, because I really don't believe that she has a lot to say unless she's spewing a lot of hatred and malice and gossip with malice. And yesterday we had another amazing lesson at my master's tarot class, and I'm really sorry that it's ending. We have two more lessons. It is amazing how much my interpretation of the cards is getting better, and I'm getting so much more in-depth interpretations that I will have to change a lot of the way that I'm looking at the cards in a way that is more profound, because we really are getting into the cards in a more profound way. Anyway, so going back to this reading, I am going to use the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, which is another take of the Right Away Tarot, but much darker ones, because it is a Night Goddess Tarot, but it's not a shadow side take. It is a dark deck, but it is not a dark deck in the meaning of shadow side, in my opinion. It is still a goddess deck. Okay, so before I start, please take a few moments to read my full disclaimer in the description box. This is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It is open to interpretation. It exists as assumptions and speculation, and as such may or may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourselves. And I think that I have told you before, this deck was purchased secondhand. It was trimmed by the previous owner, so to fit smaller hands. That was part of the reason I bought it, because bigger cards are much more difficult for me to shuffle. Okay, so let's clear the deck. I had to put on the lights since it's getting so dark outside in minutes, and it is it's 1 o'clock here in the afternoon. Okay, so I'm clearing the deck. Let's start asking. So, Meghan Markle's writing her memoir, or is she going to write her memoir? How is she going to create the plot for her memoir? What is she going to show us as the introduction to her memoir. What is she going to use as her inciting incident to writing this book? What is she going to present as her challenges, her darkest hours? What is she going to claim as her triumphs? And how is she going to end that book? So Meghan Markle's writing her memoir as being part of the royal family. How is she going to write that book? What is she going to write in this book regarding the royal family? How is she going to create the plot of that book? Is she going to spew hatred? Is she going to put out gossip with malice? Is she going to whine and claim she was treated badly? What are we going to find from Meghan Markle's book that we hadn't learned before? Okay, so I'm cutting the deck, and the first card is the introduction, or how Meghan Markle is going to present us the book, or the subject of the book. And what I'm getting here is the 10 of Wands. So the 10 of Wands is the overload card. And what Meghan Markle is going to tell us is that being part of the royal family was way too much of an overload for her to bear. That was way too much for her. This was an overload. This was taking too much upon herself. This was something that she just couldn't bear any longer. And this is a card of someone who is self-destructive, someone who doesn't listen to others, someone who needs conquests, and someone who is looking at his survival today and not looking at tomorrow's. So what she's going to try and convince us is that being part of the royal family was way too much for her. That was asking her to suffer too much of an overload, too much of obstacles that were put in her way. And as you can see in this deck, we see a woman of color, and she is holding those wands of light that are standing in her way. So this is how she's going to present it to us. Those are the obstacles that were put in her way. She couldn't go forward because there were obstacles that were put in her way, and that just stopped her from flourishing, stopped her from moving forward. She could not move forward. She could not develop as a human being, as a person, because of these 10 wands, that were way too much for her to bear. This is how she's going to introduce the subject of the book. It doesn't mean that it's true. It means that this is how she's going to present it. Okay, what is the enticing incidents? What is she going to use as the incident that caused her to leave the royal family or caused her to write this book? And what we're getting here is the High Priestess. And the High Priestess, that is the card of the mystery and going after the mystery. And this is a card of secrets. This is another card of mother and mother and daughter relationship. Now, we know now a lot more about the relationship between Meghan and her mother. And we also know now that Doria was a very, very important part of the people that were, let's say, convincing at least Harry that Meghan's situation is unbearable, that it's all around race. I'm not sure if it was not something, a conspiracy between Meghan and her mother, or it was Doria who also conspired to convince her daughter that she was maltreated. But Doria had a big part of it, as well as Meghan. So here we see the influence of the mother. So I believe that Doria will have a big part of Meghan's book, but she's not going to describe Doria as bad influence, or as someone who has convinced her of something that is untrue. No, she's going to describe Doria as the person that put a mirror in front of her and showed her the real truth, showed her the light, told her that, no, you see, this is racism. This is because they don't like you because you are black. This is, once again, a card of mystery and secret. So she will start talking about her need to keep things private, her need to keep the veil. If you remember how the high priestess really looks in the Rider Waite, but here we see the veil as part of the high priestess attire. So her need to keep the veil about many things that happened, and about things that the royal family felt that they needed to share. One of the things was, for example, Archie's birth. She didn't want to share Archie's birth. She tried to tell us that she wanted to have the picture taken at the steps of the Portland hospital, but we know that it's not true. So all of these things are the attempt of her attempt to explain to us that the intrusion to her private life, the intrusion to the secrets that she was trying to keep, to the mysteries that she was trying to keep, that was unbearable. That was part of the wands that were put in her way. So this was the enticing incident. Two things. That was one, her mother and the way that her mother influenced her. And the second thing is the intrusion to her private life, the attempt to make things more visible to the British people, the attempt to share things with the British people, to be more open, and she wanted things to stay behind the veil. She did not want to share things. Okay, what are the challenges? What is she going to describe as the challenges that stood in her way? And we're getting here justice. So justice is a card that speaks about cutting things that are unnecessary in your life's pathway. This is a card of someone who is very cold-hearted, someone who is cutting things that are not helping him, someone who is very clear-cut, someone who is very logical, someone who is not acting out of emotions. This is a card of separation. This is a card of divorce. This is a card of court cases. But once again, because we're looking at the challenges that she's going to show us, so she's going to show us how she was afraid of making the wrong thing, of making mistakes. She was afraid of doing the wrong things. She was afraid that she might repeat the same problems or the same mistakes over and over again. This is a person that has difficulty in confronting others. So this is what she's going to claim. She's going to claim that she was not the one who was bullied, was the bully. She was bullied, and she had problems in confronting the people that bullied her. She will try to claim that she was full of fears because of putting her foot wrong. She will try to claim that she was feeling heavy, that she was feeling that she was treated with injustice, and that this is a card of someone who leaves a job. So this is why she decided that she needed to leave the royal family. So if we're talking about divorce here, this is the divorce of Harry and Meghan from the royal family. So this is how she's going to try and justify this. This is why she will try to tell us that all of those claims that she was a bully, that she was making mistakes with the way that she dressed, the way that she made Kate cry, all of those claims made her feel that she is making mistakes, that she is repeating mistakes, that she is being seen as difficult, and that she is, this is one more of the ones that are being thrown in her way, and that the best thing for her was to cut that out of her life. That was the best thing for her to do in order to survive. So this is why she decided that the best thing for her to do is to get a separation between her and Harry and the royal family. Okay. Darkest hour. What is she going to show us as her darkest hour? And we're getting the Nymph of Pentacles. And the Nymph of Pentacles, that is the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles, that is the very hard worker, the one who knows how to work, the one who is very stable, the one who is the clerk. But because we are looking at her darkest hour, we're looking at the negative aspects of this card. And this is a card of someone who is usually very orderly, usually is very organized. When it is in the negative, we see someone who is a coward, someone who is reluctant to change. So she was expected to change to fit the royal family. This was the expectation. She was reluctant to change. This shows that she was a passive person. She was passive. She was expected to be passive. She wasn't expected to be a person that takes an initiative. And one of the examples for it is the press conference that the Fab Four then had for the Royal Foundation. And I remember from Tom Bauer's book that that Meghan took the microphone and she started speaking about all the things that she wanted to do in regard to women and women's voice and all sorts of buzzwords that she usually uses. And it was very evident to see that both Harry's and William's faces were very getting very angry at her because she was overstepping the boundaries. She was getting over the things that she was supposed to do because they are the managers of the Royal Foundations. They are the people that are actually doing the actual work, and the royal families are the forefront of the royal foundation. They are not the ones who are behind all of the policies of that foundation. This is the work of the managers and the other people that work for the Royal Foundation, and she overstepped the boundaries. So she was expected to change. She was expected to start being a little bit more passive. Another thing is that she was expected to stop wasting money. And she, at the first year of her marriage, wasted a lot of money on clothing. So at the second year of their marriage, I think that King Charles, then Prince Charles, maybe took Harry aside and told him, listen, this year I gave you as much as she needed for clothing, but this year I expect her to start looking into what she's, the clothing that she's wearing, maybe rewear things, not spend so much on clothing and jewelry. So this is a card that shows that she was stubborn. She was reluctant to change. She was a coward. It was hard for her to think out of the box. She was using the same buzzwords that she's using today. She is repeating herself over and over again. She's not thinking hard out of the box. She doesn't really have the ability to initiate and to start something new. She doesn't really have the ability to well, let's say that she can be a good worker. She cannot be a good creator. And this is a card that shows that her darkest hour was when she was expected to change, when she was expected to spend a lot less, when she was expected to start doing things the royal way and not her way. Okay, so what does she consider her triumph? And what she considers her triumph is the 10 of Pentacles. So first of all, when they left the royal family and they managed to have those hundreds of millions or tens of millions of dollars contracts with Spotify, with Netflix, and that $1 million speech with JP Morgan, and and Harry's millions of dollars that he inherited from Princess Diana. So for her, that was her triumph. When Hastings, I don't remember his first name, but the CEO of Netflix came out in that interview gushing about how he expects the collaboration with the sussexes to be such a great collaboration, and he doesn't see that the $100 million contract with them will be is a big expenditure, so that it's not a lot of money to spend, that he expects to get back every penny. That was for her her triumph. She then felt that she was at the top of the world. That was the best days of her life. She is going to take that as her win, and she's going to ignore everything that happened afterwards. But for her, I think that for her, that would be the best ending of the book. She's not going to talk about the bad reviews of their Netflix documentary. She will talk about how many views there were of the Netflix documentary, but she will not talk about the bad reviews. She will not talk about the 2 years that it took them to get something out. She will not talk about the bad reviews of her Spotify podcast, but she will talk about the fact that she got the People's Choice Award. So she will pinpoint, or she will pick up on pick with a, with a, how do you call it, with a well, she will pick up only the things that are supporting the Ten of Pentacles card, which is the richness, which is the abundance. She will keep on telling us how happy she is, how happy they are as a family. This is the family card. This is the happy family card. This is the card of the small piece of heaven. This is like the best card ever. So this is her triumph. This is what she's going to show us as her triumph. And the next card, the last card of this reading is the ending. So how is she going to end this book? And what we're getting here is chance, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is a card of change. It is also a card of getting your destiny in your own hands. So she's going to leave the ending open. She's going to leave it as something that the ending is something that only the future can tell. Destiny is something that we don't know. This is still an open story. Story doesn't have an ending. This is how she's going to end this story. She's going to tell us how extremely popular they were, how extremely successful they were, but she will end it with saying that this story hasn't finished yet, that still they have a lot more to offer, that still they have a lot more things that are ready to get out, and they will get it out, and they will control their own destiny. This is what she will try and tell us all. So this is going to be the ending. This will be a book without a real ending. So this is the tarot, and the oracle, as usually with books, is the literary witch. So the first card is going to tell us what kind of author Meghan is going to be, because we do know that she, at least that is what it said, that she decided to write that book herself. She doesn't think that she needs a ghostwriter, because she thinks that she knows how to write. She hasn't tried to write a book, I think, up until today, and if we're not counting the bench. So she thinks that she is a great author. So let's see what kind of author she will be. Okay, so what kind of author will Meghan Markle be? What kind of author will Meghan Markle be for her memoir? Okay, Sappho. And the next card is for what kind of tool is she going to use? So I'm clearing this part of the deck. What kind of tool is Meghan Markle going to use for writing her memoir? What kind of tool is Meghan Markle going to use for writing her memoir? And we get the boar. So let's see what the book says about that. This is really interesting because Sappho was lived at 6030 to 5070 BCE, and she was a literary star of the ancient Greece and the first female homoerotic poet. Her reputation was survived to this day. And however, her song and lyre accompanied poetry of bittersweet love between women has been lost to time, fire, and religious disapproval. Only a few fragments remain. Interesting. So not a lot will stick from what Meghan is going to write to us. And the bore is all about danger, aggression, and masculinity. So if we're talking about someone who speaks about love in erotic love, and someone who uses masculine power, danger, and aggression, you can only all think about what kind of book this is going to be. So this is it for this reading. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.